Hello there.
Hi,
Good
how are
afternoon.
you?
I'm good. I'm Veronica.
I'm Kristen. Nice to meet you.
Likewise.
Are you here in Chicago?
I am in Chicago-ish. I'm in the way northern suburbs,
Okay.
but I'm grew up around this area as well. So we're in the same climate, realizing
Yeah.
it's dreary, crappy day
No.
compared to the nice weather we just had.
Our
So
first fall spring,
I,
exactly. And Ellen said, did you used to work at Insight?
I still do.
You
Yes.
still do work at
Yeah.
Insight. Oh, awesome.
Yeah. I work
We've
with
Dr. Who?
Dr. Valentine and Dr.
Yeah,
Coop.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, Doctor, we've been clients or patients of Dr. Valentine for like, I don't know, 10 years or something crazy.
Fortunately or
Um,
unfortunately, depending on how you look at it.
Exactly. Very, very thankful to have the resource. Wish I didn't need it.
Right.
But yeah, we worked with her with probably three or four of our dogs now.
Oh, wow.
And have an appointment to see her in a few weeks,
Right.
for one of our guys. So that's exciting. Although that problem is like paling in comparison to our current challenges. But keeping us on our toes.
I know. Well, you already had enough on your plate, and now we're adding this. And Ellen has brought me up to speed on
Okay, good.
what was going on and where things are at now, and it just sounds overwhelming. So, how are you? How are things settled out? Where are things at?
Oh, yeah, I think I can say it's better. The first night or day of the mouthing and the humping and the crying and the peeing in the house many, many times. That was certainly the worst of it. And it was super stressful and I cried a lot, but I get it. Like I get the transitions are very hard. Um, and he's like, who are these alien kidnappers? I don't know who they are. I hope they're like nice kidnappers. But they never know, and
Right.
they are captive animals, so I very much try to be cognizant of that. Um, so he's not really mouthing anymore, which is
Okay.
great.
Okay.
He hadn't peed in the house in a couple of days, but did this morning.
Okay.
Um, and I'm not sure, like our other dog, our resident dog, went to daycare today, so it might have been some of that. That's the first time our new dog, who doesn't have a name yet, so I'm
I
just
was
gonna
gonna
call him
ask.
New Dog.
Okay. Okay.
We've got a really long list, but New Dog. His name was Edison at
I
the
saw that.
yeah, at the foster. So we could call him Edison. He doesn't know the name, and the foster said she very explicitly didn't use the name with him so that we could call him whatever we wanted.
Okay.
And that was just the name that the municipal shelter CACC gave him.
Gotcha. Okay.
But he doesn't know it. Um, so where was I? don't know. Oh, it was the first time Edison has experienced Echo, our resident dog, going to daycare. So maybe there was some stress around that. He really likes to be with her.
Okay.
Um, so that's fine. Accidents, like I get it. Like if peeing in the house is our only problem, I don't, that's fine. Like our last dog who recently died had separation anxiety and she peed in the house. Like it's okay. Like we can live with these things. Um, and like I said, like the mouthing and stuff is so much better. He hasn't tried to hump anyone
Good.
in a few days. So I feel like his anxiety level, while certainly elevated, still is coming down.
Good.
Um, and our at this point, our main concern is the relationship between the dogs. And I will say just out here in front that we've done lots of things wrong and quote unquote wrong. And I'll explain what I mean there is that our dog Echo is the most dog social dog I've ever had. We've had a lot of dogs and they've all been lower on the sociability spectrum, between no thank you never and like sometimes. And
Mhm.
she's just like all dogs all the time. She I've never met a dog like who needs other dogs so much in her life. She's like, you guys are great, but so we're trying to fulfill that need for her. We found a really good daycare, which I'm generally not a fan of, but they're pretty good. They do a lot of enrichment, and they don't accept most dogs who apply. So I mean, she's even on probation there because she's too exuberant, not a great listener to the people.
Okay.
To dogs, yes, but not to people.
Okay.
And then we also work with co-pilot training here,
Right.
and Echo goes a couple days a week for just a couple hours at a time to get those needs met. She gets to play with small groups, like two dogs at a time, one dog at a time, which she loves, and
Mm-hmm.
also work on some training. So we're trying to meet those needs for her.
Mm-hmm.
But we really felt like she would really love another dog, and two dogs is kind of like the sweet spot for us anyway. We've had three before. Three is tough,
Yeah.
especially when two of them did not get along. Um, so it was a lifetime of management and stress. And I didn't and don't want to put her or us, honestly, through that. Um,
Valid. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, it was just like constant management. And like the stress was more than anything. I think the fear of a
Right.
fight breaking out
Right.
was so much worse than actually any of the scuffles that actually broke out. You know what I mean? But you're always fearing it.
Right.
So anyway, like Echo is an amazing dog. I appreciate her now more than ever after having this guy. She's super dog savvy. She was the like tester dog for one tail at a time.
I
She
saw
still
that.
goes
Yeah.
there occasionally. Like she like is dog savvy. She's very tolerant, too tolerant. We think we've learned. We'll come back to that. Um, so we did the right thing at first. We kept them separate, of course. They had met a couple times before we adopted him and did well. And he lived with three other dogs in his foster. So
Okay.
I asked the foster like a ton of questions about like how long did she keep them separate? How much are they together? How do they just everything, right? And she's
Sure.
like, he was her 44th foster dog. So I feel
Wow.
like she's knowledgeable, right? So I had to put a lot of trust kind of in what she had to say. So both Echo and Edison have like a lot of FOMO. So like keeping them separated made our lives terrible. Like they would jump over gates, knock down gates to be next to each other, cry, wail. And so after kind of the first day or two of that, I was like, how soon can we get them together? So I asked her a lot of questions about that, and she said like he played beautifully with her dogs. He takes corrections wonderfully. She used him actually as the tester dog at Chicago Animal Care and Control. So I'm like, these are two dog savvy dogs. Of course,
Sure.
it's still gotta be vigilant and surveil them at all the times, but
Sure.
we're gonna like try to let them be together. And
Okay.
she said he had no guarding, anything like that. And so, like, Echo was the happiest I've ever seen her when they got to be together. Um, it's like every dream she ever had came true. And they played really, really well together. They're
Nice.
they're both pitties. They're rough and tumble. Um, Lots of wrestling going on, which is fine. I have no problem with that. Like they're kind of breaking stuff, but that's okay. Um, we can deal with that. We've moved all our furniture out of the way. Um, and so things were looking really good, and we are trying to teach them to take breaks too. But like the last, I don't know, 3 days, let's say, he has become, I don't want to say aggressive. That's a very loaded term. But let's just say a bit over the top in his level of excitement when playing with her.
Okay.
Um, and that has just begun to concern us. And we don't think it's anything that's insurmountable at this point, but we just feel like we need to understand how to manage it best. And so it's what concerns me is not the rough play. It's not even the open mouths clacking. That's fine. Um, it's not even really like I'm gonna like gnaw on your feet for a little bit as long as they're like taking turns and
Sure.
they're going
Right.
on their back a fairly equal amount and all this stuff.
Right.
But when he gets too excited, he grabs onto face, ears, and the new thing is skin on her back, um, and doesn't let go. And she we've learned, and I've since talked to trainers that know her well, tolerates everything. And we just kind of, we never want to put it 100% on our dogs to have to correct or anything, but we just thought she might correct a little bit. And given what I learned about him in foster, that he would accept it and that would be cool. And she just like doesn't correct anybody. And I talked to the trainer from Copilot yesterday, and she's like, "Yeah, I've seen Echo correct a dog once in all these months, and it was a very light correction, and it was perfectly appropriate, and it was like a day Echo didn't feel well." Um, so now we're like, okay, we have to be Echo. We have to stand up for Echo, and that is, we just like anytime they start playing, we have to like drop everything and like pay very close attention. Um, and for the most part, she's so freaking happy. Like she just loves it, which is why I don't want to be like, okay, no playing.
Sure.
Because like she would have a nervous breakdown and then I would have one too. Um, so we are trying to teach like a cue, like break. Um,
Good. Excellent.
yeah, so
Okay.
and we're a little afraid of him for he's a big dude and we don't know him, right? And so like we keep his harness on at all times. Um, we were a little afraid to like grab him at first, but we've since been able to like we'll just hold on to his harness when he's going too strong at her, just to like stop the interaction. And he like handles it beautifully. He's never even like looked back at us, never gave us that quick look, which can be a precursor.
Mhm.
Um, so I didn't know like a couple of things of like, should we teach? I know some people teach like a collar grab with a treat just so they know if there's ever an emergency. If I have to touch your collar, it's
Mhm.
not a bad thing. Like I would never leash pop, I would never pull, I would never do any of those things. But maybe teach them like if I touch your harness, it's okay. It's like a good thing.
Mhm.
Um, but specifically also like the break, if that's the right thing to do with them, how to do it better. She's great. She hears break and she's like, treat, like, and comes and runs to the treat thing or tries to, but sometimes he's still attached to her back if I have not been able to get to them and get him off of her.
Gotcha.
Um, and so we don't want it to escalate.
Right.
We want it to de-escalate some.
Right. Okay.
And so I feel like I don't think my suspicion is it's not possible to like completely change a dog's play style. Um, but can we teach them or him some more inhibition,
Sure.
um and the best way to do that. So I'm not saying we're out of the woods with him by any means, um but we'd like to keep trying really for him and for Echo. Like for the most part she really does just seem so happy
Good.
that he's here, and they sleep on top of each other and they nap on top of each other
Stop
all the
it.
time. And I know it's like we've had so many dogs and they've never done this and it's been the
Right.
dream. And I'm like, oh my God.
It's like a
Um,
whole different world that you've
it
never,
is.
especially
It
when you've
never
never
had.
had dogs that did it before. Oh my God, so precious.
Never.
So
I
precious.
know. I'm like, so like I'll be like at the end of my rope and like we can't do this, we can't survive this, and then they'll do that. I'm like, oh my God, you're killing me. You're killing me. So they really do enjoy each other, I
Okay.
think, way more than not.
Okay.
Um, but it's just like his biting and pulling on skin and ears and stuff that I feel like we just need to stop
Sure.
if we can.
Yeah. And she's not, you said that they take turns, like you guys are watching
Hmm.
them taking turns.
Yeah.
And when you see this happen, is she doing anything different with her body language? Is she being like, this is fun? Or is she like, I'm just going to take this? Or can you
I
tell?
Yeah, right. It's so hard to tell sometimes. I feel like it's kind of a mix of the two. Sometimes she's just like, okay, I'm gonna stand here until he'll let go or until you come get me, mom, dad, whomever. Sometimes when he's coming in too hot, she will like flip on her back. And then in that way, he doesn't get her neck, her ear, or her back skin. And she can also like kind of kick him off, and it really seems to like de-escalate the situation.
Good. Okay.
um Sometimes she seems like she's still having fun, but there definitely are times where she's just like, I don't like it,
Okay.
but I don't know how to make it stop either.
Sure. And
Yeah.
he's new to the home too, right?
Yeah.
So I
Yes.
gather eventually you'll be working on because you're doing such a great job with Echo with like her long-term calming projects and with her safe space and relaxing and all those things. It sounds like
Yeah.
a lot of that is probably going to transfer to new dog,
Yep.
especially if it makes just more sense to kind of train them at the same time or like take
Right.
turns, that sort of thing.
Right.
So
Exactly. He needs a
taking
lot
the
of that same stuff.
exactly, exactly. So taking a little bit grain of salt of we're gonna meet your needs, right? And
Hmm.
we'll get you more skills that it may just translate to my needs are being met. I'm enriched in other ways. Let's see if that makes my play style a little bit less intense because I'm
Yeah.
not as hyped up, right?
Yeah.
Echo goes
Right.
to daycare. She gets to get her social wiggles out there too. And New Dog just doesn't have those kinds of things
Right.
yet.
Right.
I
Hmm.
love that you're already working on this break. If that's going to be like your keyword, I'm
Yeah.
loving that. That's
Okay, good.
fantastic. Have you used it yet, either in when they're in a play session you're trying to break up or outside of it or both?
We have used it only like sometimes too late.
Sure.
And but I try to catch it before. I try to catch him before he gets I can see he's getting too excited and then I'll try to do the break then. But
Good.
that's kind of like one of my questions. Like I would start to overthink things and I'm like, should I teach break or is like a recall cue the same thing? Am I overcomplicating it? Should I just teach them recall? Um should I practice if we're going to teach break? Uh, should I practice just like treating, like break, treat, break, treat, break, treat, break, treat,
You got
like
it.
before they
You
start
got it.
playing?
You nailed
Okay.
it. That's exactly
Okay.
it. I would use a different word personally just because we're human and we're fallible, and I'm probably going to poison the word at some point by using it in like the incorrect context.
Right.
Uh,
Totally.
I imagine that when you're going to say break, you're going to see things escalating. Like your tone is probably different than if you're just like recall training, right? It's just,
Yes.
so I like that actually it's a different word. And
Okay,
that's a
good.
beautiful approach to pair it with food. You can do
Okay.
that with Echo too, with both of them, right? Doing the like have some treats ready to go. They're just kind of lounging, doing whatever. You say break. At first, they're going to be like, what the what is happening? Like, what do you
Exactly.
want me to do with that? But then they come over to you, like if you have to shake the jar of treats for to get started, and then they come to you, and then you can give them treats, say yes, and then give them the treats, call that
Okay.
done, do that
Okay.
again somewhere throughout the day. If you want to do it, I think sort of like you've done the capturing de-escalation. So if you want to do it like 3 to 5 minutes, like in segments, like
Hmm.
during the day, great. Otherwise, if you want to do it throughout the day, like whatever makes your life easier, but just so
Okay.
you start building a repertoire of when I say break, you both
Yeah.
come to me,
Yes.
seeing how that
Okay.
goes. Because I
Okay.
wonder too, is Echo going to come to you and then New Dog is going to follow? And is he only coming because she's going? I'm hoping that he's going to be learning that this is what happens, not this, I'm following Echo. So I'm interested to see how
Exactly.
this all comes out. I mean, now that she's at daycare, you could absolutely start practicing with him. Like
Yeah.
now that he's
Yeah.
there by himself to be like, oh, this is what this means is I come to
Yeah.
mom when I hear that word and she's going to give me good fun stuff. And
Yeah.
if you already know for Echo some of the long-term calming projects that calm her down,
Hmm.
you can start exploring those kinds of things for New Dog to be like, okay,
Yeah.
break, that was really escalating. Maybe I'm going to get some frozen Kong out of the freezer that I've got ready to go, and you guys are each going to get Kongs and just kind of decompress because that was a
Yes.
lot, and we want you to come back down.
Yes.
That sound.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that they definitely need help decompressing. I mean, they eventually do with all the like beautiful cuddling and napping, but
Yeah,
they need help
sure.
getting there, especially when they get going playing too rough. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so adorable that they're cuddling on top of each other and playing. I just can't
It's
even with that. It's so cute.
it's like ridiculous. He like would just like sat on top of her like day two. He was just and she was there for it. She was there for it.
Finally.
Um, I know it's so amazing, which is why we're going to try anyway, but it just helps. It
Sure.
helps to see that connection between the two of them. um, to just kind of give us more impetus to do what we need to do. Because, he was just I had my eye on him at CACC, and then I was really excited when the rescue pulled him. But I wanted him to be in foster for a while so we could know more about him. And then I've been keeping an eye on him on socials and stuff even before I reached out. And like, no dog is perfect, but he sounded amazing, like super calm, great with all people, great with kids, great with dogs, perfectly house trained, perfectly crate trained, all these things. Because we didn't want a second project.
Right.
Like, we have a project dog.
Right.
Now I realize that she's kind of perfect except for the separation stuff, but um,
Funny how it comes full circle like that. Like you
right?
just need perspective.
Exactly. Totally changed. Exactly. Like, I love you so much, Echo. Uh,
Uh,
so like I didn't want a second project and I wanted to find this like near perfect dog, at least based on, a couple months that he was in foster. And it's not really translating yet. And so we're disappointed
for sure.
that maybe had too high of expectations. And I'm not accusing her of lying, but I am thinking that maybe she um spun a few things about him.
Sure.
Which, I understand. Like, you want to move the dogs, you want to get them in homes. I get that. I think it kind of backfires in the end, but
Right.
no real blame there. But I think he's maybe a little higher maintenance than he was made out to be. And I absolutely feel like he's going to have separation anxiety. And just based on some indices I'm seeing, I hope I am wrong. And it's just early days and he's figuring it out. I'm hoping I'm wrong.
And they
But
didn't
like
mention
that's
anything about that, like separation.
they they kept him in a crate 8 to 10 hours a day.
Oh, wow. At the
Yeah.
foster home or at
At
the
the
shelter?
foster home.
Oh,
At the
wow.
foster home.
Okay.
So when she was at work, he would be in a crate 8 to 10 hours a day. If it was like a 10-hour day, she said, she would have a walker come, let them out in the yard, and then he went back in his crate. And she also did not let the dogs. I learned all this after we adopted him. Um, not how long he was in the crate, but like I learned that, for example, she didn't let the dogs play in the house. They only got to play outside. And she maybe already said this, but her dogs did correct him. And he did take that very, very well, which we
Mm,
just assumed Echo would do the same as she did not do. So I think he had also just a very different existence
sure.
than he's having here. He has a lot of freedom here, a lot of we're using, I mean, I wish we could, have him in the crate a little more just because it's hard with two dogs.
Yeah.
Um, but he's not digging it. He eats his meals and gets treats in there and stuff, but if he's not doing something, he starts to cry. Um, so we're just like, okay, we're gonna do our best in the meantime, but that's a little on the back burner, like crate training and stuff like that. And he has like we leave the door open a lot of the time so they can go out in the yard and play. They have like the living room. We've like moved all the furniture out of the way so they have a lot of space to play. Like he's just got a lot more freedom
Right.
here. And maybe it's a bit overwhelming for him. And he's like, I don't even know what to do with all this.
Right.
Um, so not saying like we were sold a bill of goods, but it's just different than we thought and more of a project than we hoped for.
Yeah.
Um, I think, I'm worried about guarding. He's pushy with her. He like if they're both coming to say hi to me, he pushes her out of the way.
Okay.
Um, and I try to prevent that. I try to put my body between them. She never gets mad about it, and he never gets mad if she keeps coming, so far. Um, but I would like to learn maybe how to not do that. Like I had a dog that would guard me and my husband from our other dogs, and it was hard because he would escalate. And it was like impossible to have guests over too because he would guard every guest we had. Um, and you can trust guests a lot less than you can trust
Right.
yourself.
Yes.
They never listen
100%.
to
Oh my God.
directions.
Never. Never. You should
So
write it
yeah, so
down
we
and they'll be like, nope.
nope,
Yeah.
dogs love me. Um, exactly, exactly. So I would, maybe pick your brain about how to to avoid that too. Like again, like so far they're just like both super wiggly and happy to come say hi, but he
Mhm.
does push her out of the way. And if he walks by her, he'll push her out of the way. He pushes her a lot,
Okay. Just like in
I will say.
general in their
Just in
everyday life.
general, like yeah, if they're gonna both like go look out the window, maybe she's moving too slow for him. I don't know. He just kind of like checks her out of the way and goes look. Now they go look out the window and they'll sit there forever and just be totally peacefully like looking out the window.
Mhm.
Whereas certainly our other dog, who is a garter, would not let anyone else look out the window with him.
Okay.
But again, I am just trying to be aware and also maybe catastrophizing a bit based on previous experience.
Well, yeah, and I can't, that's exactly why. Well, I do the same thing. We all do because we have that in the back of our brain.
Yeah.
That this is happening
Yes.
for. We want to be as best equipped and prepared to avoid the things. It's kind of a curse to know things.
Right?
I going back to, I wish we were ignorant sometimes and didn't know what we
Yeah,
know, and it was such bliss. And now we
it
know this
was.
stuff, and it's
Now all the
we have to
videos of
unknow
it,
it.
the dogs were cute, and now they're just
Yeah,
terrible and make me sad. So
yeah,
I'm like that dog is stressed and going to
yeah.
eat that child, but cool. Keep posting that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah, yeah.
Well, you're on the right track with all of the things that you're doing, with just being cognizant of it, right? Like just knowing it and being like, I don't think that you're over catastrophizing. I think you're doing a good job of just seeing where possible issues may crop up so we can
Okay.
nip them in the bud. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think for now, we can easily incorporate some of the things you're already doing to see if it's going to help those kinds of behaviors from escalating.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that we can try is getting each of the dogs, since they're already comfortable with each other for the most part, right?
Yeah.
Aside from the rough play, and we want to build some skills for new dog anyway. I think a lot of times scent work is a great thing to incorporate to get basically each of the dogs doing something parallel to each other, like at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, just as a way to
Mm-hmm.
be like, we can share resources. Like,
Yep.
no one's getting something better than the other. And
Right.
that could be a way to start with that. If they're loving going out in the yard, I mean, maybe not on a day like today where it's dreary and gross, but doing stuff out there, whether it's snuffle mats out there or some other long-term calming project that Echo likes that new dog also might enjoy, like just giving them each a thing, even tossing some kibbles out and doing find it. What is new dog eating, by the way, now that he's with you
Yeah,
guys?
yeah, we're just like, switching him over to what Echo is eating. And she eats just food for dogs,
Okay.
actually healthy weight because she needs to lose a few pounds. He does not. So, but just food for dogs of some variety. So wet food, and then the kibble he was eating. I'm like slowly switching him over to like a kibble that we use, like it's either Honest Kitchen or Arcana or stuff like that. They love Stella and Chewy's freeze dried. What I always have done with our dogs is they eat a huge variety of different types of dog food, and treats and human food, not a thing. Um, and we've never had GI issues, and he hasn't had GI
Good.
issues and stuff like that. So I like to
Good.
keep them on a variety of food because for me, that's like a pillar of their enrichment. I wouldn't want to eat the same thing every day. So,
Sure.
so he's switching over into that world of more exciting food, and so far no problems, GI stuff. And
Good.
so I give him like I've found that like things that are like a Kong that's frozen, he won't do. It's
Okay.
too hard and it's too frustrating for him and he'll just like
Sure.
start crying in his crate. But if I give him a Kong that's not frozen or a Topple that maybe is frozen, but Topples are so much easier to get into,
Yeah.
then he will spend time even in his crate. Totally fine with it. So we're doing that frozen enrichment too, licky mats, frozen stuff like that. So, but it is a work in progress. I did a shuffle mat with him. I put it in his crate and then I realized he didn't know how to shuffle mat. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
we got it
Gotta
out
teach
and
you.
we
Yeah.
like yeah exactly he's got it out of the crate got it so he could and taught him how to snuffle so we're trying to do a lot of stuff like that, yeah, and he's learning
Good.
he's learning
I mean, it's given the foster environment that he was in, like you said, a lot of this is new.
Yeah.
I mean, he was found as a stray, but so we don't know much about that. So all of this agency, all of these choices are probably
Yeah.
like just
Whoa.
a lot. So the fact that he's
Yeah.
doing so well and catching on so quickly with what you've already done, I think is a positive sign. I remember
Yeah.
when my dog, this guy, this girl right here, when she first came to us, she was also found as a stray. And
Hmm.
she was jumping on coffee tables because she like had never been indoors. She's like, I don't
Right.
know what this is. And it was a
Right.
whole different world and teaching all of those simple things. Well, we call them simple, but
But
you
they're
don't
not.
know them, right? They're just
Right.
foundational and they still need to be taught. So,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. Like, what is a coffee table? It is just a
exactly.
platform on which I can stand. Like, what
Clearly,
is this, like,
clearly.
human food versus not, or human furniture versus not? Absolutely. Like that. People
Right.
just expect dogs to know that. Like, it just kind of drives me crazy. I was talking to a friend today and he's like, well, does he come when you tell him to come? I'm like, I have not taught him that. So he's like, but if you say it, but if you say the word come, does he? I'm like, no, he does not speak English. So, so of course he doesn't come. Like maybe he's like
Uh,
interested in why I'm making a noise,
sure, sure.
but no, exactly. We have to teach them. And yeah, he's got a ton of agency now that he just did not have before.
Yeah.
That is for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's great that he, especially just GI wise and the stress of going to a new home, that he hasn't
Yeah.
had any issues there because
Yeah.
that can be just such a pain to deal with. And just make
Yeah.
me feeling for him, it makes him
Right.
feel worse, like in his behavior worse.
Exactly.
So, okay, that's always
Yeah.
good to know.
That's been good. Yeah, I was a little concerned, but we did transition. I mean, it's only been like a week, but we did take some days to transition him over. But even with just different treats and stuff, he's been fine. And we used to feed Echo, and this kind of makes me sad. Like, so like my partner Nate would cook and she eats like all kinds of produce and eats everything. And so she would just lie at his feet while he cooks and then she would eat all the anything he's cooking and that's safe for her that she would eat too. And now we don't do that because we're not trying to have well, two giant dogs in a tiny kitchen like
Yeah.
space doesn't work.
Yeah.
And also try not to like get them to like compete for resources or whatever, or introduce these variables um too quickly or too much. So it feel really sad for her because anytime we ate dinner, she would like I would take 3 bites and I'd give her like a bite of my food. And now she's just like, whoa, what happened here?
I mean, if you still wanted to, I don't think you necessarily need to stop if that's something that you enjoy and you think she enjoyed. I might just give it to both the dogs.
Yeah,
That way
yeah,
they don't have any concerns about fighting over resources. It's like, nope, we're both getting this good thing. Or if you get it,
right.
or if you start and you give it one piece to Echo, then new dog gets a piece. And then
Hmm.
maybe next time new dog gets a piece and then Echo does. That way, oh, other dog gets it. That means I'm going to get one too. Like that's
Right.
the pattern that they'll
Yeah.
start to learn. So that's up to you guys, but I don't think
Yeah,
you
that's good.
necessarily need
Yeah.
to stop it. The feet being at your feet while you're cooking, yes, when you have giant
Right.
dogs, it becomes a little bit
Yes.
harder to do. So that part I
Exactly.
get.
Yeah. Thinking like we were in the process of teaching her to be on a mat, like at the other end of it's like a galley. So we could teach them like to be on separate sides, although they'll probably want to be next to each other. They just want to be next to each other all the time, which again, adorable. But something we can work on. But really, I just, our obligation, responsibility, we feel very strongly, deeply is to protect her. She didn't ask for this. I
Mhm.
think she's really happy about it 97% of the time. Um, but we want to protect her and, of course, prevent problems from escalating and all that. Um, but we just feel like that's really our job here. That's like the contract we made with her.
Mhm.
Um, and so do you, do, again, thinking, okay, impossible to change play styles. I don't know, but do you think it's possible to teach them to de-escalate or never to not never but generally speaking not to over-escalate like there be a time where we don't have to surveil every single interaction do you think?
Yeah, I think so, especially once you get more of a routine established. There also might be times where, like my dogs, I know. usually around 3 or 4 is when they start getting antsy. That's when, like,
Hmm.
usually they're sleeping throughout the day, just like they are now, but around 3 or 4, that's when we're going to start to get antsy. So that's when I know they don't play a lot with each other, but if they did, it
Hmm.
would be like within that time chunk. So
Hmm.
that just prepares me for, okay, I can mitigate this where if I am worried that they are going to escalate further, let me give you something to do to get those wiggles out, maybe doing
Yeah.
something with me or you guys doing something solo before you guys tend to get into your play session there. So there might be
Okay.
ways that we can kind of get ahead of it once we have some routines going on.
Okay.
It's been like a week,
I
right?
know.
So that's part of
Feels
it
like a
too.
year, but yes,
I'm
it's
sure
been a
it does.
week.
But once you get some of that, I think that is going to help and just
Hmm.
onboarding other skills that are going to help to increase Echo's confidence just overall, in addition to
Hmm.
like all the things you're doing with her safe space and her calming activities, all of that's going to help. And the more that new dog learns, like the combination. So do I think it's possible? Sure. Or am I going to say, just like you said, it's never a possibility? Like, there's always a risk,
Right.
sure. But I think that's
Right.
why it's nice to have the backup option of break to use
Hmm.
that interrupter if and when needed. And it doesn't have to
Yeah.
be a highly stressful thing. It's like, break, here we go. I've got the jar of treats ready on the counter or wherever it is.
Yep.
Pull out some, snuffle mat or whatever it is, and everyone has a little break from the little play session they were doing.
Okay. What is your that's really good. And that made me think of a question. Generally what I've been doing is like break, and clearly he does not know it yet. Echo's got
Right.
it down. He's just like, you didn't say anything to me. Um, we're gonna work on that after our phone call. Um, Generally what I've been doing with the break, and sometimes I've had to like physically like pull him off of her. Um, I She will come right back. She comes right back at him and wanting to play more.
Okay.
So she's kind of like, why are you making us stop? And so their breaks have been really short.
Okay.
Um, but I hadn't thought about like, let's break and like do something else, do some
Right.
other activity, do something that might calm you guys down.
Yeah.
Because she's always like, let me at him. I'm gonna muzzle punch him now. I'm like, oh my God. Like I'm holding him off of you for a reason.
Yeah, I think having something else to do is going to be helpful with that.
Hmm.
Let's see if you need that all the time, but especially at first when we're building this up,
Yeah.
I want something that's going to take them a little bit longer. Otherwise, yeah, they're
Okay.
immediately going to go back and be like, break, that was fun. Here we go. See you
Yep.
later. Thanks for
Exactly.
that. And then just go right back to what they
Exactly.
were doing. Yeah.
Yes. That's exactly what they do.
Yeah.
What are
And
you
so,
doing back there? He's a counter surfer, and he's also
ah,
very tall. One sec, I'm just gonna
yeah,
get a
no
pair of
worries.
eyes on him. What are you doing?
Safety first.
You don't want the coffee. I don't think he can reach anything, but he's just so much taller than uh I realize sometimes. Which was why like first night when he's like humping me and he's like as tall as I am
Ah,
when he's standing, and like he's a big boy, like 85, 90 pounds or something. I'm like, this is scary. I don't like this. I
yeah.
don't want this. And Echo, like we thought she was a big dog before we got him, and now we see like, oh, you're a little peanut. So all the more reason we feel like, okay, we really have to protect her.
Yeah, I love that. And as far as like when they are around the house now, he has his collar on, you said?
He has a harness on. Yeah.
He has
Yeah.
a harness on? Okay. I
Hmm.
mean, one of the things that you could also do is leave a leash, like a long leash attached.
Hmm.
That way, if they do get into something and we don't have break down yet,
Hmm.
you can just grab
Hmm.
hold of the leash and pull them apart.
Hmm.
We're not yanking like just to correct
Right.
necessarily. We're just trying this is just a safety thing, but that's also like a backup option that you can use for
Yeah.
now, as long as he's okay with the leash just kind of being dragged. Some dogs might freak out
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. We've definitely had dogs that are really freaked out about one of our dogs who was the resource guarder and kind of attacker. He would anytime anything dragged on the ground, he would redirect on whatever dog was close to him.
Okay.
I don't see that happening with him, but we haven't tried it, and we could always get something that's like softer that makes less noise.
Sure.
Um, But also my only concern is we do have like really short handles, you know? And so
Okay.
we had that clipped on the back of his harness and it's just like 12 inches long. So it's not like as safe as the leash would be, but it like gives us at least an extra foot when we would have to grab him. And then he would like try to eat it. So it was something that we kind of had to
Gotcha.
like be vigilant
Yeah.
of with him. But that was the first couple of days. So it might be worth trying again. His stress level is definitely lower than it was. And
But
so I think he might, so much of that was stress, like biting on the leash, biting on the handle. So that might be worth trying again, actually, or a leash.
yeah, you can try that. I mean, if you really think that he is going a little bit too hard and Echo
Mm-hmm.
is just not doing anything to help herself,
Mm-mm.
I would try as much as you can not to grab like
Mm-hmm.
physical body just to
Mm-hmm.
keep you safe, just in
Right.
case. Because if those
Right.
endorphins are super high and they're like rebirths,
Exactly.
there could be accidents. You could always, if you have, depending on the play space that they're in, have things around that you could use in case of emergency. And I hope you never have to
Yeah.
use this, but something like I've used blankets with my dogs before.
Okay. Okay.
I have blankets, as you can see, in just about every room of my house already, just because I
Uh-huh.
do. And so if I see or suspect something's about to happen, I'll just grab a blanket and put it over them. And
Okay.
then that's usually enough to cause them to be like, wait, what? And
Wait,
they'll,
what? Yeah,
yeah, and
exactly.
they'll kind of dissipate. So that's an option.
That's a good idea.
I've also used pillows. Like I just
Hmm.
toss the pillow at them because then they're gonna be
Uh-huh.
like, what was that? So
Exactly.
again, not like I want to, but I've used pillows.
Right.
You can use louder things like some folks use things like air horns.
Hmm.
Stuff, something
Hmm.
that's going to be really obnoxious. That's probably going to have both the dogs be like, "What was that?"
Right.
Um, but yeah, at least starting with something that you probably got around, like blankets and pillows,
Yeah.
I think is an easy way to start to get their
Yeah. No, that's a really great idea because I was like, yeah, do we need a break board? Where do you buy a break board? Like I
right.
can find one on I'm boycotting Amazon. Where do I find anything?
Yeah, I mean, you can find some, you can DIY that sort of stuff
Hmm.
too. Like if you find
Hmm.
something at like a Home Depot type
Hmm.
of setup. So yeah, you could totally get that too. But even those are, you'd have to get it out, right? And be like at the
Exactly. Like
ready. So
exactly. Yeah, we have
yeah,
blankets everywhere too, so that's like that would be so much easier.
yeah,
And then he could just be like, we turn the lights out and just
yeah.
like buy us some time to like bring that level down.
Especially because it doesn't sound like he's doing full on like attacking, biting, where I'm like grabbing and like it's just prolonged and a little bit intense, and we don't want
Hmm.
that. So
Right.
if he were like latched on, I would completely not want like to pull him apart because I feel like that's
Hmm.
gonna injure Echo like with the pulling. I would just kind
Yeah.
of whack him with the pillow until
Yeah.
like he stopped and
Yeah.
do whatever else I can to let him
Yeah.
release
Yeah.
if that were to
N-
happen, but I'm knocking on wood and all of the things so
Yeah.
it doesn't escalate to that.
Yeah. And it has a few times. And, in this less than ideal situation that is when I have like grabbed his harness and I don't like yank him away per se, but I hold him in place with his harness so he can't advance on her. And
Okay.
he tends to let go of her skin anytime I like hold his harness.
Okay.
But I have had to do it when I'm like, you're not letting go.
Yeah.
Especially with this new thing he just started with the back skin. Like she's running away and he's got a hold of her back skin, running after her. All the things we're trying to avoid.
Yeah. And I think once you do that, give like what happens now once you do that? Like Echo gets away, what does he do? What does Echo do? What
He
happens
just
to them? Of
stands there and he's still pulling like because she doesn't leave. She will generally come back and like
course she
get in
does.
his face or grab onto his leg or she
Like that was
very
a good time.
much
Now what?
exactly she very much comes back and tries to re-engage him. And so if we're both here at the same time, it's a lot easier. I'm like, distract her, I got him, because we keep her naked here, because if she's wearing a harness or a collar, well, one, that can be dangerous anyway, but he will grab onto that.
Okay.
Um,
Sure.
and I'm like, is that preferable to her skin? Like, we just need him not grabbing onto anything. But if
Right.
she is wearing something, he for sure grabs on it. So he's the only one wearing anything at this point.
Okay.
But she generally, I hold him. He's still super excited, but he does like immediately or almost immediately let go of her. So she gets like a little bit away from him, couple feet, and then she's like right back at him,
Okay.
poking him, chewing on him. She just does it in a way that's less, again, aggressive,
Okay.
than he does. She bites softer,
Okay.
chews softer.
I wonder if we can, if that's going to happen. All of this might be, okay, we just had this big intense moment. Let's redirect both of you so we don't come back to the same spot. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily have to be like break long-term calming project thing, but maybe in that case, okay, I pulled you off, Echo got away, but she's coming back. Can I engage both of you in like 2 minutes of like a little training session? Like, can we do
Yeah.
something that you are both focused on me? Like,
Yeah.
give me a high five or do a nose
Yeah.
target or spin or whatever else.
Yeah.
That way they're still engaging. And then maybe after that, being like, great, we're done, long-term calming project or something
Yeah.
to help, or seeing if that just getting their attention to do something else helps them to de-escalate on their own.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think that could be an
That
option too.
absolutely, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. It's just so much. And, part of me is like, if we could give him back, I would probably do it in a second if there was like no guilt and repercussions because this is so hard and it's so much more of a project than I ever anticipated it would be. But then I just see how happy they are together and I'm like, okay, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep fighting for these two because they really bring a lot of joy and calm to each other. And like Echo never slept enough and she sleeps more now and they nap together. And I'm sure she's tired because they play all the time. So but whatever it takes, she just she's not a great sleeper. And now she takes naps. And so I feel like there's so much good there that, like returning a dog would be the hardest thing I've ever done anyway. So I'm sure I would never do it. But there's part of me that's just like, I can't bear doing this again because like last year we had a foster that ended up being behavioral euthanasia that we worked with Dr. Ballantyne with, in fact. And it's just really hard. So like you mentioned trauma, there's so much trauma for that. Um,
Yeah.
he actually bit Dr. Ballantyne. It's like one of the most horrible things. And she's like, wow, didn't see that coming, which for her, that was her point. Like she's like, I see it coming and I did not see that coming.
Right.
And we worked together for, some months with him, um, and got all the ortho and the MRI and all that stuff done. And it was just kind of ended up being terrible and super, super dangerous. And so I have a lot of that like flooding back at me too. Like when he started with the mouthing and stuff, and when I see him over escalating with her, it brings it back. So, there's definitely a part of me that's just like, I want to give up, but then I know myself. Um, and that would be terrible. And also, I just want to make them happy if it's at all possible.
Yeah. Well, all of what you've experienced is 100% valid to like how you're feeling now because you have this background. And as much as I love that Echo loves this new dog, and I love that you love that, and they're playing together, you are absolutely having our support for wanting to continue having new dog here and seeing if this works out. Yeah, we will do that. We are on board. If you ever at any point in the near or far future decide this is not what I signed up for,
Mhm.
that's also okay. And
Thank
as
you.
hard as that is to be like, I've never been that person to return a dog,
Right.
we are okay to advocate for ourselves and
Hmm.
for the safety of Echo, for the safety of you, and frankly, for the safety of New Dog.
Yeah.
Because as much
Yeah.
as Echo's taking the aggressive play now, that might not always be the case. So
Right.
that it's a safe concern for everybody. Like, so
Yeah.
And there could be other dogs out there that aren't projects that Echo would get along with beautifully.
Right,
I, I get
right.
that feeling of, especially with as dedicated as you are, with all of the dogs you've had and you've tried and tried, you do get to have a say about how you want to have your next dog. Coming off
Thank
of
you.
that couple of dogs and the three dog like nightmare, like everything was hard, you don't have to do that again. You
Yeah,
don't.
that thank you. That means a lot. That I mean, truly, truly means a lot. Because like when I reached out to this shelter, not the shelter, but the rescue, about how tough things were, they were very much not like, I don't know, understanding. They were very much like, we're doing everything to keep this dog in your house, which again, I get that's their job and that's where they come from, but it made me feel even worse. Um, because I'm not a giver upper on dogs, and like I did like the caretaker burden survey for Dr. Ballantyne with the BE case, and she's like, your number is about as high as it can be. She's like, you are off the chart burden with him. Um, and just like the fear of even approximating that is heavy. Um, so it does mean a lot to hear that that's that it doesn't have to be that way. And we are truly coming off of 20 years of really, really hard dogs.
Yeah.
Like when I met my partner in like the year 2000 or whatever, he had a dog that was well, she bit everybody. And we made it work for 15 years with her. And then we had our three for, 6, 11, and 13 years. And they're the loves of our lives. I would give anything to have them back. But it was hard.
Mhm.
And then BE with Rilo. Like it's just been literally so long with these really tough dogs. And I like that about us in some ways. I like that we're willing to take the dogs that a lot of people won't maybe, but also like, do we have to? Like, do we, you know what I mean? Like, can we have like a break? Kind of.
Right. And we're in the same boat with my partner and I, and it's
Really?
when does it get to be my turn of taking a break, of having an easy dog that
Right,
doesn't have all these issues for all the years
right,
that we've been rescuing and just this is what you end up with and we'll make it work no matter what.
right.
And it's been some time where I've come to realize when you're drowning in those thoughts and managing everything, so much so that like your CBI score is super high. If you can't take care of yourself, how am I going to be present managing for my dogs or do anything else in my life?
Do
Because it's
anything
not just
else.
you and your dogs. You have a life, you have friends, you
Right,
have family, like all of the things, and it just
right.
makes it even harder. So
Yeah. Because everything
here with that.
suffers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
So
bummed
thank
that
you
the
for that.
shelter or the rescue was, I get it
Mm,
too, but yeah, it's just hard.
it
I
is
get in
hard. And
it.
like they wouldn't do a foster to adopt. And like I
Right.
understand that adds an extra layer of work for them. But I just like with an adopter that already has a dog that feels kind of like a thing that maybe should be offered, but they wouldn't do a foster to adopt at all. There's no like giving it a try. And we only got to meet him once in the
Yeah.
back of a PetSmart. And then we were like hemming and hawing and saying to them, like, we just don't, that's just so little information.
Yeah.
Um, so they're like, okay, well, we'll bring him to the city and you can see how he does on Echo's turf or whatever. And then, but at the end of that meeting, we had to give them a decision.
Yeah.
And it was not foster you to adopt, it was adopt. And so here we are.
A lot of
And,
pressure.
he- and here we are. It was a lot of pressure. And it's really hard to say no in that situation when like the person's like, it's 8 o'clock on a Friday night. They just drove from Lyons or whatever. And I'm like, take him back. And I didn't even want necessarily to say take him back because it had gone, they played really well together. But that wasn't the whole story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard when you just have so little to go on. And if we didn't already have a dog, I wouldn't even be on this call because he's wonderful. You know what I mean? it's because we have a dog that we have these issues. But he's like, he would be a lovely, like, single dog. I wouldn't even, yeah, would have not a second thought in the world.
That's the thing. And one of the things I've realized too is how much I feel sometimes like we're the saviors, right? Because we have dealt with problem dogs before. So, but we know what we're doing. Someone else might not. I'm like,
Right.
well, that's pretty ambitious of me to think that I'm the only and best home for this dog. So, another little grain of salt that I'm like, oh, okay, maybe that's not quite where things stand.
So true. We definitely had that conversation. I'm like, can you imagine if they'd ended up in a different home? Maybe they would have been fine. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and I'm just like, no, someone would have hurt them. But
But
we're
we
not
do
the
that
only
as
people.
humans. Yeah, we
Yeah.
catastrophize and we tend to look at the
Yes.
negatives because it's easier to do that. So
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
it, 100%.
Yeah.
Are you guys both on the same page? You and your partner about where things stand now?
We are like the first couple days was rough, and like I'm like, you are blaming me again because he blamed me for Rilo or B case. Like he said he didn't, but I felt it. Because Rilo, that was like my decision. So this time I was like, I am not deciding to get a second dog. Like you want a second dog, you can decide to get a second dog. And so I kind of like made him make that call because I didn't want to be put in that position again. But the first couple days were rough. I felt like I was definitely being blamed. But new dog like loves him so much. And he loves seeing New Dog and Echo together so much. Like it's like softened him.
Oh,
So I feel like it's like put us on the same page, whereas maybe we
good.
weren't like the first couple of days. But now they're like all snuggled up in a, last night I have a picture of them like all snuggled up in like a pile at the end of the I'm like, I wanted, if I did want a second dog, it's because I wanted someone to love me. Like he's Echo's favorite too. And they're just like all at the end of the couch smushed together. I'm like, that's cool.
Oh,
So, but that's helping, it's like creating
sure.
this affection that he might not have otherwise felt. So far on the same page, but that
Good.
definitely is a concern and can make things so much harder.
Yeah. For sure. Good. Yeah, the first few days are always hard unless you have a really good process of transition, which
Hmm.
very few rescues and fosters do. So it's not surprising that they were rough. I remember bringing my dogs home and like there were tears. There were lots of tears. And I'm
Yes.
like, I hate this and this is stressful and I can't
What did
sleep.
I
And
do?
yes,
Yes.
the whole
No
thing.
sleep. Yes.
Yeah.
Zero sleep the first night. Just cry.
Yeah. Been there. I've been there.
Yeah.
So
It's so
I'm
hard.
Yeah. Well, the fact that you're feeling optimistic about things, I think is a good sign. It sounds
Good.
like you like a lot of the interactions that really the whole family is getting, not just Echo,
Hmm.
but your partner
Hmm.
too. You don't seem like you're as high stress as it was the first few days. You've got like these
Right.
concerns. It's like, I think it's smart to have. That way we can prep and kind of build on those. So I think all of that is great. I'll send you a summary plan, much like Ellen does after
Okay.
your guys' session. So it'll have a
Yes.
few handouts of things that we talked about. But the strategies that we're using, I think are going to be good for both Echo and for New Dog.
Okay.
And all of the things that you are already doing with Echo, I think will translate nicely to some skills that New Dog needs.
Yeah, he
So
needs them.
as long as I think you're okay with knowing, okay, I do have two projects now.
I
They
do.
probably have very similar things and trajectories, like not exactly, but you're probably going to work with both of them, the same things over the timeline. And if you are good for that, mental space for that, capacity for that, 100%. We will help you
Okay.
through that. We're on board.
Okay.
And you see Dr. Ballantyne very soon with
Very
Echo.
soon.
Okay.
Yes, with
So
Echo, which I
hopefully,
will
yeah,
definitely be bringing up the subject of new dog too.
yes, yeah.
Um,
But hopefully that helps things feel less high pressure for you. Because at some point,
yeah.
it's like something's got to give. Can something give?
Yes.
So maybe that's the
Yes.
thing that we're looking for. And then kind of teeter-tottering on like, where's the focus going to be
Yes.
between this
Yes.
and this? Because it's hard to do both at the
Exactly.
same time. So,
So hard. I'm feeling overwhelmed. Right. Exactly. Because it's not,
yeah,
we were already working with Echo and stuff. He was already our little project. So now we just
right.
got a much bigger project.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the for the moment, for the time being, I'm feeling like maybe it's doable.
Good. Okay. I
Yeah.
love to hear that.
Eh,
And after our discussion today, do you feel like we've covered some strategies that you can use that are
Yes,
helpful? Okay, good.
absolutely. And just the thought that it's a possibility, like that it could happen is just hopeful.
Good.
And definitely some really great strategies that new ideas and confirming that break is a good way to go. Because I'm like, am I doing everything wrong here? I don't even know. Like, should I just give him a name and teach him that? But what you said about having a different cue makes so much sense. So yes, thank you so much.
Absolutely. And let us know when you do decide on a name. I'm curious to see what
Okay.
it is. If it'll
I know,
be
me too.
Emerson or one of the other long lists that you had or
It's
what.
a very long list. Yeah. We're just trying to narrow it down. Oh,
Yay. Well, that's the
it
fun part. Enjoy that
is fun.
part.
It is fun.
I looks like you guys are scheduled, you and Ellen are going to meet again because you had already had everything booked out next
Yeah.
Friday. So you're still
Next
good for
Friday.
next Friday at noon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
And then I think she transferred her last one to you for today. So
Okay,
after that, like I'll just decide like what to add on or
right.
whatever at that point
Yeah.
because I feel very much I'm still going to need some support.
Probably. And if you wanted
Yeah.
to also wait until you met with Dr. Ballantyne to see what the plan is going to be, like that would be fine too.
Okay.
That way you can get an idea of how many sessions you think you might need, or
Yeah.
just book a package of sessions and be like, but let's schedule it for after I meet with Dr. Ballantyne, something like
Okay.
that. So you
Yeah.
have a couple options of ways to
No,
go about
that's a good idea. Yeah. And I would like to ask her to like, 'cause I would love him to see her as well. Like
it. Figured.
if it's a possibility, I know like she books way far out. So I realize we have to work on it in the meantime because it could be months.
Yeah. Well, and we like to work on one dog first, get
Mm-hmm.
that a little settled, and then let's bring the
Mm-hmm.
other dog in. So
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll
Okay.
you'll be okay. And if you wanted, for that matter, then to continue sessions with Ellen, being like, okay, maybe we're going to take a break from Echo because we're focused on this. Maybe now is the time where we focus on new dog skills and whatever you need
Yeah.
there. We'll help you figure that out. Let's see how things
Okay.
go till next
Okay.
week. We can
Okay.
reconvene then and then go from there. If I don't chat with you again, I'm sure I'll chat with you at Insights when you
Yeah.
catch up with Dr. Valentine.
Yes. Thank you so, so much for making time for me today and giving me more hope. I really appreciate it.
Good. I'm glad it was helpful. You guys are doing
Absolutely.
great. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we're
Thank
just
you.
on an upward trajectory. Fewer
Yes.
bumps. Keep us posted
Thank
on how it
you.
goes.
Absolutely. We'll do so. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Have a good weekend.
You too. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.